Welcome, everyone. We are ready to rock and roll, and we are going to be bringing you one of the hottest educators. We have been blessed to be partnering with LearnSkin. And LearnSkin is an organization that we met through a very good friend of mine named Alish Pierce, who is Ask Alish. Hello, Alish, if you're watching. Um, and I've got Dr. Raja Sivamani coming on with us to talk about how he is changing the way the aesthetics industry is getting education. So I've got him coming on in a few minutes. We've got like 8 people, so excited. You guys pay attention here because we are bringing you some of the most sophisticated education, and there's some really amazing opportunities to get in touch with LearnSkin. We've got multiple ways. Hey, Brighten Up, how you doing? Is that Becca? We've got multiple ways to connect. So I just got a notification that LearnSkin can't join. Let me try and invite them one more time. Dr. Sivamani, if you're watching, I just sent another invite. So if you just go ahead and accept that invite, you'll be able to join. There he is. Dr. Sivamani. Raja, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just singing your praises as the doctor changing skincare education.
Oh, yes. You're too kind. I'm trying to see if this is too bright, this backdrop here. It might be a little bright.
Yeah, if you,
So,
yeah, that what works right there. There you go.
there we go.
Awesome. So, we've been working with you guys since last year, and for those of you watching, LearnSkin has a ton of opportunities to get to know who they are. For example, you just posted today on your Instagram, it's learn.skin, that you have a podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about the podcast?
Oh, the podcast is so much fun. Yeah, we call it the LearnSkin Podcast, and it's about topics in skin that really relate to what the practitioners, be it estheticians or if they're dermatologists or just people that see patients and clients, the kind of things that come up. And we touch on a range of topics. You know, Barry, we need to get some estheticians on the podcast too. That'd be really fun to do that. But we touch on a range of topics that go from how you diagnose a disease to personalized medicine to nutrition. We just had an awesome podcast that released talking about sugars, like whether you eat things that have fructose or glucose, how does that affect your skin as well, or affect, health? So we cover a range of these sort of topics, and we try to make it really holistic. So it's not just about skin, but goes much broader. So we think big.
So, well, that's the thing that I love about you guys. And one of the things that we are heavily focused on educating our community on is your Integrative Esthetician Certificate Program, which is the only one I've ever seen. And, we were introduced to it by Alish Pierce, who works with you. And Alish does a lot of holistic treatments in her practice. But tell us a little bit about what estheticians are going to be able to expect from that program.
This program is something that we're super excited about because the integrative approach really broadens your perspective beyond what you learn in your standard training. We're bringing in approaches that come outside of the standard conventional approach. So we draw upon perspectives from naturopathy. Why is that important? Well, we think about topical ingredients, botanicals, phytochemicals, how they work, how you can incorporate that into a bigger regimen. Ayurvedic medicine, so then you can think about what are your skin types and tendencies, and how can that give you clues on what kind of ingredients you can use or what kind of daily practices can you do. Like Ayurveda is so full of knowledge around oils, for example. So, not every oil is created the same. Maybe there are different sort of oleation therapies, as we can say, that you can use. You learn about things like Shirodhara. We have an aesthetic integrative practice. In fact, I'm sitting in one of the office rooms here at Zen Dermatology where we have other estheticians that work with us, and one of the estheticians provides the Shirodhara treatment, which is this like spiritual treatment where you can really focus in and be much more, as we say, inwardly focused, and you have this oil that gently drips on your forehead, and you learn about why these things work. And some of these are very, very emotional for people. They get a release. So, coming to see your esthetician shouldn't just be about skincare. It should be about inner care, taking it to that next level so that you feel that comfort. And that's how it shows up on your skin, as being brighter and more radiant, because you feel better on the inside too. Otherwise, it's like trying to do skincare with one hand tied behind your back.
It's one of my favorite things that you guys have. The whole concept of looking at the human being and not just the skin, because truthfully, your skin is an organ that manifests all of the negativity that's happening in the body, be it disease, be it an unhealthy diet, an unhealthy lifestyle in general. It shows up on the skin. Like it's what purges everything. So I think I was so excited about it. And I love Ayurveda. I learned so much about Ayurveda when I was working in a holistic spa.
Yeah.
With the Shiodar treatment, that is one of the most beautiful treatments, where that oil just drips over the head. Do you incorporate any type of nutrition into the integrative aesthetics, like talking about what foods and food groups people can eat to help their skin?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's core, because what we eat shows up on your skin. I mean, for example, they did, and I'll show you just like, I'll give you a little snippet of why this is so cool. They did a study in the United Kingdom. By the way, everything is evidence focused when we do this program. Like it's fun, but it's also backed by research too, which is, I think, really important, because you want to have that comfort that, hey, there's also research behind a lot of this. So there's a study that was done in the UK where people they ingested different levels of fruits and vegetables, and the more they ate of these fruits and vegetables, for example, they got more carotenoids into their body. And carotenoids are these phytochemicals that hone into the skin. It's so smart, just these plants, the way we ingest. And they found that those people that were eating higher levels of these carotenoids had a natural food tan, and then they were graded as being more radiant and more, their skin looked more healthy. So like simple things like that. So yeah, whether it's acne and you want to reduce all those aggravating foods like high sugars or dairy, or if it's fried fatty foods, or say it's something like rosacea or really sensitive skin, then, we tie in that food component. Like, how do you bolster the antioxidants through food? Or how do you keep your skin from getting overly irritated by not eating those foods that might be aggravating for your skin type?
I'm so happy that you touched on acne, because you just volleyed to me, and I'm gonna spike. You
Oh,
all did a
awesome.
wonderful webisode with us back in December. I'm sorry, it was in November. And it's on our app. So if you have the Lip Gloss and Aftershave mobile app, if not, you can download it from the App Store or Google Play. You get the app, and then you just search LearnSkin Acne. That webisode will come up, and you'll be able to see Dr. Sivamani talking about their theories on how to take an inside-out approach to acne. Do you want to give them a little bit of a teaser as to what they can expect in that webisode?
Yeah, well, when we start talking about acne, we start taking a holistic approach. And that's really important, because, the standard stuff is, you have bacteria that are overgrowing, maybe the pores are plugging, you produce too much oil. But then let's take that one step further. Why are your pores producing too much oil? What is it that's driving the acne at the basic level? Is it something with nutrition? Or could you use other, like, for example, say you are using certain ingredients that might be really harsh on your skin. Can you add in other oils? I saw a comment come up, which was really brilliant. Not all oils are comedogenic. There are some oils that you can totally use on your face with acne that have science, that have been shown to actually improve acne, because they tie into certain parts of acne that are overdriven. Like, for example, there are certain oils that actually reduce the amount of oil that you're producing. Go figure, mind blown, right?
Absolutely.
And so we start to realize that you can't just use the word oil and then comedogenic and just use that as a blanket statement. So this is the little teaser that we have a little bit more personalized approach, and plants are smarter than we think. And we think that if we learn how to work with them properly, you can use those natural oils on your skin in a really awesome way, where you can pair them with retinoids, pair them with your salicylic acids, pair them with your natural peels, so that now you get a synergistic whole person approach.
I love it. And the thing that we also want to let everybody know is that we wrote an article specifically on you and how you and your colleagues have formed LearnSkin and are bringing this integrative approach to the skincare industry for estheticians to be able to not just focus on skin, but like look at the whole body. So I would encourage everyone to go onto the app and look at this this article that we wrote, because it really does break things down for you in a way that you can do some research after. But you also wrote for us one of the most interesting digital downloads that we've yet to receive from any of our brands. And it is a 9-page download on maintaining a healthy microbiome. Do you want to give everybody a little bit of a snippet onto what they can expect? And by the way, just before you get started, I want to let everyone know you can go to our Instagram stories today, and there's a link in our Instagram stories where you can get that digital download. You don't want to miss it. Raja, tell them why.
Yeah, when it comes to the microbiome, let me just take a step back and say that, one of my deep passions is not just understanding holistic medicine, not just understanding how we can go beyond what we do with skin, but actually building that frontier and continuing to push the frontier. We have this very robust clinical trials unit where we do a lot of studies on skin microbiome, the gut skin axis. We did the biggest probiotic study for acne that's ever been done. We're now doing a study where we're going to build in acne, the skin, the gut, the mind body approach, like mindfulness. So a teaser on, what we wanted to talk about with the microbiome is that your microbiome is a living, breathing system that shifts and changes based on what you're eating for the gut, and that changes the inflammatory profile of your body. And we've shown in studies that your gut microbiome is, and other people have shown, it is shifted when you have acne, as one example. But also the skin is so important. If, like, for example, if you have eczema, you can have a shift in your skin microbiome that goes in a direction that becomes more inflammatory. And here's the super important part, Barry. Some of these shifts happen before the disease shows up, or some of the shifts happen before we actually can visually see it. So on the flip side, if we can choose ingredients, or we can choose certain oils, or we can choose certain products that can support the microbiome, not mess it up, then now you're doing something that's much beyond just, say, aesthetic care. You're doing preventative approaches too, where you're trying to promote the health of the barrier, the natural barrier. And so these are some of the things that we want to touch upon, is just how the microbes are not just living on you, they're living with you. And if you learn how to live with them, it's much better than just saying, I got some bugs on my skin. It's better to say, my buddies are on my skin, and we're going to make them buddies that help us live better.
I love that. I love that. So, as we come out of a global pandemic where more and more people became more focused on a wellness approach to life, people, they had so many of their numbing agents taken away, like workaholism, being outside, shopping, all of these things. So they were left with more of we have found that after the pandemic, the human population within specifically the US is really shifting towards a more wellness focus. How do you think that a consumer's approach to wanting more wellness is going to work with estheticians who are now looking at an integrative approach? Like, where do you think that junction is going to take place?
You know what it is, Barry? People want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be touched, not just looked at.
Okay.
People want to be understood as someone that's much more holistic than just the skincare. And I think the esthetician that understands this is going to have deeper relationships with their patients and have deeper conversations. And what does that mean? That means you're not just transforming their skincare, you're transforming them. And I think that's the key, because, we all have this immense power to see these patients that are in a vulnerable state. When their skin isn't where they want to be, people deal with all kinds of psychological ramifications. They deal with all kinds of challenges just on a day-to-day basis. And like you said, then they're trying to deal with, the wellness, and things get stripped away. And so when they come to see you, this is your chance. It's one little oasis of a chance for them and for you as an esthetician to take that visit to that next level, so that they understand that this isn't about just their skin, it's about them. And then based on that, they can make some changes that are more holistic. But think about the bond that's built there. It's indescribable. The bond that's built in an integrative visit is indescribable because you're creating these connections that go beyond just a transaction. It's a bond that really says, I want to live well and you care about me.
And I think that there's so many estheticians watching right now, but then who will also see this this interview in days and weeks to come, and they want that same level of connection with their clients. So let's say they are interested in the program that you're offering. Can you give them a little bit of an idea of what that program looks like? What will be some specific coursework, timeframes, price, that sort of thing?
Yeah, the pricing you can see online, but in terms of the actual coursework, we really want to hit a few aspects on there. And so some of the things we'll touch upon is a background on what does it mean to have herbals that you're going to be using, or botanicals. So you get a background on that. And it's not just, oh, these are botanicals. We go one step further than that. We'll talk about what do these botanical groupings do? Which ones are used to soothe the skin? Which ones are used to maybe augment its ability to take on stress or augment antioxidants? Those kind of things will be there. But then the coursework also builds into bringing in these other perspectives like we talked about, like naturopathy, Ayurveda, say it's going to be a little bit around nutrition, supplements. And it depends on scope on whether you can use supplements or not. But the point is to make it a team approach so that you can understand how supplements can get incorporated. So that if you're working with a dermatologist or working with other practitioners, that you can create a synergy. I think the point is you also learn about ingredients that you might have never heard about before. And so the idea is that you broaden the education that you might have already gotten, but then maybe expand into mind, body, and understanding mindfulness and how these things can key in and bring in practices like Shirodara into your clinic. Why not?
No,
bring in those simple little things that you can just have a conversation around breathing exercises as you're doing the treatment. I mean, these simple things can just heighten the entire experience.
And the thing that's really interesting is I was dealing with some serious sinus and allergy issues a couple of weeks ago, and a friend of mine is working with an Ayurvedic formulator, and she said, I want you to get some ginger root, and I want you to shave it into some water with some cinnamon, bring it to a boil, add in a little bit of turmeric, lime juice, and a scrunch of black pepper, and I want you to drink that. She's like, it's Ayurvedic for anti-inflammatory. She's like, you will feel amazing. And I have to tell you, like, I'm never drinking ginger tea again. I am only going to make this from now on. And I thought, I was when I took that, I knew I loved a little bit of Ayurveda, and so I took that, and I knew we had this call scheduled, and I was like, I'm really excited to talk to them about Ayurveda and how the elements of the earth, the herbs, roots, spices, that sort of thing, how they can impact the skin. So like we all know, like one of the hottest things out there right now I've heard on the market is turmeric. And so it's an amazing anti-inflammatory. How do you see, like, are there specific things that you see within the skincare industry that can be involved as far as an ingredient that are something that you're interested in? Or do you think that it needs to take a step back and really have like a specific approach taken with each individual?
Well, you do need a specific approach with each individual, but some of these botanicals and these herbs are so amazing that I think as long as you have a conversation with someone that has knowledge in the area, which this is part of why we did this program, is so that many of you can become knowledgeable, is so that they can then make a decision on whether they want to include turmeric. So for example, with turmeric, we've done 2 different studies looking at people taking oral turmeric and can it help with, say, facial redness. And you can find these publications. They're all published, peer-reviewed journals out there. We did one study where we looked at curcumin, which is, quote, the active ingredient, versus turmeric. Turns out, if you take whole turmeric, you can not only absorb the curcumin really well, you get all these other phytochemicals that come with it. And right now, a lot of people are looking at turmeric versus curcumin. Now, the other really cool thing, Barry, I will tell you, is that it shifts the gut microbiome. Not only that, we see that if you use turmeric in, not just by itself, but if you use it in a formulation, you can actually shift the facial redness to become less red. And that's one of the studies that we published. Here's another cool thing. you can get topical turmeric and people just assume it's going to be yellow and it's going to stain the skin. Well, check this out. They've got hydrogenated curcumin now, which is the very first step of what happens in your gut by guess who? Our buddies, the gut microbiome. And they figured out that if you hydrogenate curcumin, it becomes white and you can use it topically on the skin. So you can actually get curcumin that's totally elegant and can be used on the skin as a part of a topical regimen. So these are some of the things that, you know, we're learning as we go along, and we're so excited to share with all of you, because what's the point of us keeping all the knowledge? That doesn't get out there. We need to have all of you help us.
It's like so the one thing that I've heard a lot of conversation about in the holistic world is the gut microbiome as it relates to skin. And
right.
Is that something that your course is going to give people understanding on?
Yes, because when you think about the gut-skin axis, there's a few ways that happens. One is the immune system, which we don't touch on too much, but just know that there's an immune system that's at the gut. And the immune system isn't like, you know, we're not partitioning the immune system's everywhere. So if it's at the gut, it's then going to move on to the rest of the body. So that obviously right there, you have a connection. But nutrition, what you eat not only impacts the gut microbiome, but it also impacts hormones, and that can impact, so it impacts hormones, and that can impact things like acne as well. Secondly, you actually have these what are known as postbiotics that come off of your gut bacteria. So short chain fatty acids that are produced by your bacteria, which are really anti-inflammatory. For example, they're deficient in acne. How do you boost that? Well, you eat the right foods to do that. And you can also, so simple, you can even do intermittent fasting, and it boosts those bacteria that produce short chain fatty acids. So the short answer to your question after this kind of longer answer is yes, we do touch upon it, because how can you not, Barry? How can you not talk about this stuff? You have to.
It's truly amazing. And so like we could go on, but one of the things I want everyone to know is you want to go ahead, and if you're watching through Lip Gloss and Aftershave, you got to go follow LearnSkin. So it's at learn.skin. Couldn't be easier. If you have the LNA app, search LearnSkin. You can read the articles, watch the webisode, get the digital download from our Instagram stories. Other than that, we've got so much more LearnSkin coming for you throughout the next couple of months. Dr. Sivamani, are you going to be in any of the upcoming trade shows throughout the country?
Yeah, there are some. We do go to a lot of conferences that we head out to. We probably need to get out to a few more esthetician conferences, and that'll be up on the docket for us. But we do have some of our symposia that we normally go to. I want to just tell everybody, we have the Integrative Dermatology Symposium that's coming up in September 30th through August 2nd. It's on a resort right there. This is already sounding fun, right? And it's going to be in Arizona. And we have the esthetician track that's going to be running alongside the other tracks that are there. So you get to meet a lot of people from a wide variety of perspectives. It's a lot of fun. Come join us there. I think that's, and I'm one of the chairs there, so I'm obviously very biased. I think it's the coolest conference on the planet, by the way. I think it's super fun.
Was that an invitation? Because I would take that invitation.
I think that's an invitation. It's the Integrative Dermatology Symposium.
And is that near your office?
No, that's going to be, that symposium's going to, so I'm in Sacramento, but we're going to be having it down in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay, because I want to come to Zen Dermatology. I want to get the Shivadara treatment. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you want to come to Zen Dermatology, absolutely. We're in Sacramento. You can come check us out. And in fact, it's easy to find us on Instagram. There are not too many Zen Dermatologies out there.
I love it. I love it. All right. So for everyone watching, we want to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching us in replay, still join with LearnSkin. Get on their Instagram. You can get to them through learn.skin. And if you have the LNA app, you can find all about them. Other than that, Dr. Sivamani, thank you so much for the time. We hope you have a wonderful day.
Oh, this is always so much fun, Barry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.